Okay, we're going to do a quick July tour of the plots and see what's going on here. So we'll start off at the gate. As you can see to the left, loads and masses of blackberries. I didn't tie this over the gate this year, I just let it sprawl over, and if we look down here, you can see masses of them either side. In the gate, the comfrey, which I hacked down a while ago, is coming back nicely. So we can see down here some nice healthy leaves coming in. Then we've got, this is Joan J raspberries. These weren't hacked down in spring, spring, autumn, winter time. So we've been getting loads of summer raspberries off these, and you can see all the growth for the autumn raspberries, and all the flowers are starting to come out now. We've been getting, well, nice healthy couple of pullets a day off these, or every other day at least, and of both types. This is tourmaline, which is a summer fruiting one, but it tends to fruit at autumn as well. But we've been getting loads of them. Now, if we swing round, we've got the blackcurrant bushes I harvested the other day. There's still quite, well, a few on them, not that many, but still enough to get a reasonable, maybe a pound or two out. And then the apple trees and plum trees in the orchard. Now you notice on the cherry, I have a mosquito netting. That's to stop the birds getting to them. And it's red because red's supposed to be best for fruit. We'll just poke down here. You can see, well, at the end, you can see the Himalayan honeysuckle. You can see all the apples on the trees here. So hopefully I'll get a nice crop of apples. And down there's the honeyberries, which I've not really had anything out from. These honeyberries just, I've never had any fruit off them worth commenting on. So I'm going to go through and we're going to start off in the new territories. Just make our way through. See, quite a few still left on there, but a lot less than was originally. Here's a little fig, no figs on it. I'm hoping that in a couple of years, when it's more mature, it will have harvestable figs. I know you pinched them out, so I have pinched a few of these out to see if that will encourage anything, but I don't know. Start around at the grapes. I need to thin these out and take off the multiple bunches. Got blueberries. The pink berries aren't doing very well. Another fig with no figs on there. And these are my shallots. These were planted late in May, so we'll see how that goes. I've got a pumpkin here. I'm going to try and train up the cords, and a butternut squash. Just got to convince them to go up and get rid of the bindweed, which I'm working on. Beans, not too good yet. Beans, direct sowed. Very few have come on this side, and a lot of dwarf beans over here, dwarf runners. Peas are growing up, just trying to get weeded in between them. See the fruit and fence. All these gooseberries looking great. Now these are what I transplanted the other day, some of these squashes. One didn't transplant properly, but the rest did, so I had two there and one there. So they've transplanted. I do have another little one there I could try transplanting back into the space. Volunteer potatoes, which will be coming up whenever they're ready. I think they're mostly Maris Piper. This is the garlic bed. Well, garlic's come out, and I've put buckwheat on here. Look back at the fruit and hedge fence. You've got absolutely nothing on the kiwi again. Had flowers, they last very, very briefly, but the flowers haven't changed into fruit that I can see. And we've got some red currants underneath that. This is a lot of perennial stuff, so we have some Welsh onions, non-flowering sorrel. We've got some winter purslane going along here, some coriander, more Welsh onions, a couple of more the sorrel, the chard going to seed, more Welsh onions, a lot of onions in this bed. Babington leeks going over there. Now if I just bring you into close to them, you can see how they've got the bulbils forming on all of these flower heads, and this one seems to be a double flower head, so that's going to provide us with more plants next year. The plants that aren't flowering are dying back. Over here I've got the tray cabbage, Australian tray cabbage, which I pruned last year, if you see the video. I'll show you that in a second, but it's on its last legs. Got some wild rocket there. My one and only artichoke isn't doing too well. And I've got salad greens mixed here. Well, I think there's Caucasian spinach growing there. And over here I've got some mashua. You can see the nasturtium-like leaves. On the next bed I've got loads of weeds. There's a couple of cardoons in there, which I still haven't worked out how to cook properly. Well, strawberry, and there you can see my cabbage. It's been trimmed again this year. It's grown back, but not as strong as it was last year. Good King Henry. And then here I've got sand leeks, which, as you can see close in, also has all those bulbils that you get on the Babington leeks. I think I've got one or two Welsh onions and aren't doing much in that bed. Then over to the final bit, perennial bed, you've got where I took the upri out, is down here. What should be Babington leeks here, but I don't know. I'll have to wait and see. They didn't seem to have bulbils last year. Then I've got Scots lovage, which is a low grown lovage instead of the 6 foot tall normal lovage. Then I've got kales. I've got Dorburton kales over here, and I've got Tortondines over there, and I've got to trace back to see which one these flower stalks go to. And over on the back, that space there is the elephant garlic nursery. Next to the bronze fennel, then we have sweet cicely, and then we have rhubarb. Okay, I'm just going to go over to the jungle plot. And we've got some brassicas. These are calabrese. The wind's blown the top off and too many things have been pecked at. In the bed next to them, you can see here, I've got skirret, which is a root crop, and it's growing nice and flower, so I'll let that go to seed and see if it grows any new plants. Nothing being squashed here, but here, this is an earth chestnut, also known as a black cumin, but not the black cumin you buy in the shops. Potatoes from, I think, Asda Whites. And then we have tree spinach, which self-sown seedlings were growing amongst sweet potatoes. So I've transplanted it all out here. New potatoes, Pentland Javelin. These were green potatoes I harvested last year, which I kept in the fridge. And these are more mature plants from the earth chestnut. Called earth chestnut because they have little root tubers which are quite nutty and taste of like chestnuts. This is the bed that I had the upri grown. So that's got compost on it and a whole load of buckwheat sown on it. Here's the courgettes. No courgettes yet, but I can see that they're getting some there and some in here. Just see what we get. Ochre, and in here you can see there's quite a few weeds, including tree spinach, which is also known as lamb's lettuce. In here I had sprouts which got eaten by something. They're starting to grow back, so hopefully I will still have sprouts later on in the year. And there's some volunteer ochre. In this bed, volunteer potatoes. Could be Gemston, could be Nicola, could be Charlotte, could be Pentland Javelin, or a mixture of all the above. Because I had Pentland Javelin in early and I had the other 3 in as a second crop. Yeah, my mother's talking to us saying the strawberry fairies and the strawberry bed, which we'll get to in a second. But this salad crop, last couple of days, it just went zoom. Spaces around the edges are filling in, and every time you pick it, you come back and there's twice as much left. So it's doing well. I think definitely next year I'll actually, rather than just scatter seeds, I'll probably start them off, because I'm finding it hard to find things in there because certain things are taking over. But I'll be pulling some complete plants and thinning them out, and there you can see the results of the strawberry fairy. Get about the same amount every time we're down at least every other day, quite often every day. And the strawberry bed, which is 5 years old, it really needs to be taken out and replaced. I think I'll get, so these all came from the last allotment, so what I'll probably do is get new plants early, mid and late season, just to try and extend the harvest. And then there, growing underneath the side of the shack, is the giant rhubarb, which just wants to grow. It just likes growing. It'll not stop. You try putting a greenhouse on it and it just grows. So that's the garden. And I'm just back to do some work. I've got compost bins to fill up and everything. So I'll see you next time. Ta-ra. One bed that I realised I didn't show in the tour is this one. This one is a sort of a perennial replant bed. And as you can see, there's leeks. This area here was full of scorzonera, which I've just hacked back because it finished flowering, and I don't want it to send seeds all over the place. There's some skirret in the back, but it's got some bindweed over it. And this down here is a perennial broccoli, 9-star broccoli, which doesn't do very well for me. Liz Orab gets great broccoli by the looks of her videos. Me, I've got one tiny little head a couple of years ago, and that's it. But I'll persevere, and it looks like, although this looks like it's on its last legs, I might be able to get some decent cuttings off of it. But I want to come back to these leeks. Now, a couple of them, it's sort of like come out the ground, and this is what the bulbs look like. You know, very similar to elephant garlic or upri. But these are just a bog standard annual leek that were planted here because I hadn't eaten them, and I just put them to the side and thought, as an experiment, let them regrow. That was in 2016, so they've regrown. Cut them off at the soil level when they're healthy, bit past it now, and then they come back every year. You can see how they're getting clumps here where one has split into more than one, and these are the ones that I replanted after harvesting, because you can dig up, split and then replant. And yeah, this has been going for a couple of years now. Right then, I started piling this compost heap up in the beginning of June, and yesterday I just gave it a turn, and well, for comparison, here's a 30 litre bucket, so you can see it's getting a reasonable sized pile. I'll come back a bit and get more in. So that's one of my bins. I'm moving my bins, so turn the compost 90 degrees. 180 degrees, so it's pointing the opposite direction. But yeah, I've shoveled this over, made sure it's moist enough, and now I'll come down to here. Now if we look on this one, let's get that in focus if I can. Let's just try getting that one in focus. There, that's saying 70. This one is saying 50. But I'll just bring these out, so if I just put my thumb here, that's how far it is. So it's 50 degrees within, well, it's about 5 inches of the surface, and it's 70 degrees, about 6 inches of the surface. So it's getting really nice and warm just after turning it yesterday. I put them all the way in. Sorry, showing you my boots. You can see that it's actually going slightly higher than 70 on that one, which is about an inch or so, a couple of inches longer than this. So yeah, it's really built the heat up. I'm getting loads of grass, plus all the weeds and cardboard and newspapers, and toy bits from last year's compost is all went back in. And I'll be building this up to the end of July. After that I'll start a new pile, and then I will let this break down, probably give it a turn once or twice the rest of the year, and that is the start of next year's compost, hopefully. I've just dug up a volunteer allium from underneath the potatoes. So this is probably a baby elephant garlic. I was trying to get it out with a bulb, but I dug down to it and unfortunately it snapped off. Now all the green was above ground, all the white was below ground, so that's quite a long bit of white there. It's 9 inches long. So one of those baby combs from years ago, it's years since I've had elephant garlic on this bed, several, has hung around until this year. It's got itself buried 9 inches underneath the surface, and then decided to grow. So unfortunately I didn't get it all out, because it would have been nice to have that root, but it could possibly grow back next year, you never know. I hope not. But as I said, probably elephant garlic. It's a leek kind of leaf, and it would only really be elephant garlic that would survive around, because I haven't had upri in this bed, I don't think, no. Okay, so just a little interesting snippet. As I was digging out that elephant garlic, I had a quick filter around and found a few spuds growing on the surface. Now at the minute they're okay, they haven't turned green or anything, so they've obviously had enough shade from the mulch and from the tatties, but there's enough there to take home and have for my tea. So that's my first crop of new potatoes this year, and these were all from volunteer spuds, so something for nothing. Quite handy volunteering.